Welcome to Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. Backed by popular demand is the intrepid Drake Bailey for another question and answer session. You may want to make some popcorn and buckle your seatbelt. This one will be another wild ride. Here is your host, Gail of Gaia, with her guest, Drake Bailey.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and I'm here again with Drake Bailey, and we're ready for our show. We're a day late and $1 short, but that's another story. How you doing, Drake?
I'm doing gooders. I'm one of those kind of people.
Hey, I don't know if you noticed a picture in the background where the guy is on,
You mean the Swami floating in the air?
Yeah. You know what that says underneath that? It says, Om on the range. Oh.
I got a little story to go with that one. My first wife about crapped. She come home one day, and I was levitated about 2 feet off the bed. She didn't quite know what to do with that, but that's not my problem. That's her problem. She got to learn to do this, not me.
I go, cool, man. How'd you do that? I
want to. She told me to quit it. Well, it messes up their day. But the History Channel is running things about the council. They say the mysterious, and that's horse hockey. They were told at the very beginning it's called the Council of Nine, the gods that supposedly put it all together and whatnot. The only problem is that they are the overseers, not the creator. Big difference.
Yeah.
And all that. So what went from there? They went in and got into Valiant Thor and a bunch of these other things. But I got a personal story about a guy that had interludes with ET that. And ET thought it was comical as hell to screw with the government. So you begin to get the basic picture. Everybody knows what an SR-71 Blackbird was. Fastest piece of junk that ever flew. All right.
Okay.
It'd go to Mach 20 if the pilot would live through it. And what was neat was they had an update. And the update was the SR-72. It was even faster and all this other happy stuff. But one day, ET was tooling around where the military saw it and said, fire up the Blackbird and go get him. Oh, okay. Pilot runs out there, jumps in the SR-72, fires that baby up, and zoom, off he goes to get this turkey. He got within about 25 or 30 feet was the estimation of the ET craft. And that's when the ET craft went to hyperdrive, similar to what you see with Star Trek taking off. All the ETs want to do is escape. Well, the problem was that the Blackbird, or the SR-72, was too close, and it got sucked in behind this aircraft, right? In order to make sure that the pilot didn't get hurt, they beamed him out of the SR-72 and brought him on board. And he wasn't quite sure what to make of it until the ET started speaking English, and that sort of, you calm down when well, if it's totally strange, you don't know what to do with it. Well, in this case, yeah. And apparently they started talking to him, and the guy was personable, and ET got to where they liked him. Now, within about 3 days, all of a sudden, there's this thunderbolt sound. As I understand it, at Area 51. And bingo, here's the pilot. And he's trucking down the friggin' road. Now, this is inside the outer security area. That's the one.
Oh, yeah.
There's no fence, but if you get in there, they tell you that they will shoot you if you don't leave.
Yes. Well, I know
he has gone past that to the inner sanctum of Area 51, and he's trucking down the road, just walking along. And of course, when security figures it out, they lose their minds. I don't know if they were able to retain their colon or what, but they run over and, hey, where'd you come from? How'd you get in here? I said, no, I'm supposed to talk to the commander. Nobody talks to the commander. Oh, I am supposed to talk to the commander. On whose order? The second in command of the space fleet that's overhead right now watching our what we call planet Earth. And they thought, oh boy, this he needs some screws tightened up or some added or something. He's missing a couple sandwiches for lunch and all that. But he then has ET do their thing. And well, one of the things that they do, one of the things ET likes to do is to cause things to appear and disappear in close proximity to the unbelievers. You know, poof! Oh shit! Poof!
Whoa!
No. What are you doing? He said, well, you won't take my word for it. I thought I'd prove it a little bit. That's all well and good. We'll contact the commander and let him know you're here. And then he tells me, so when I was the pilot of the SR-72 that disappeared, you what? You definitely got to talk to the commander. Okay, so he goes to the commander. Spent about 2 hours in there. They did him every kind of a test you can think of, physically and mentally, to make sure that the boy was not leaking brains or something. You know, they really thought he was nuts. But he also predicted some shit that would happen as soon as their meeting was over. And the commander come walking out. Bingo, guess what? It happened. Oh boy. The commander says, damn, now I do believe you. He said, okay, that's cool. I don't have any other information other than, ET seemed to be nice and everything. And I was kind of, just curious as to what they might want of us. And he said, well, they just didn't want to hurt me. They did not know that their wake could pull one of our aircraft in if it was too close. They didn't know they apparently weren't aware of that. And so they kept the aircraft, by the way. That was one of several. I think there's like 4 of them or something. Anyway.
Oh, really?
So the guy, he spills his guts, tells them everything you want to know. What they ask you about, what they talking about, just general stuff. They like baseball, dumb stuff like that, right? So they turn him loose, give him a ride back out where he can, and put him on a bus to take him to back to civilization, so to speak. When he gets on the aircraft, it goes from 51 over to the air terminal. When he gets off over at the air terminal, security, and I'm talking about like the people that tell the men in black what to do, they met him and they took him right down to NASA. Bingo, immediately. And here we go. And he's altogether spent about 3 days answering questions and, what'd they look like? Like you and me, only different. Well, it's like Valiant Thor. What he looked like? He looked like an extraordinarily young man in the videos and the pictures, and he was. He would be considered, in our term, a teenager, awfully responsible teenager. But that's basically where he was at. And
they know how to preserve their youth when they have enough.
Yeah. Anyway, so this pilot gets all kind of accolades and all this other happy stuff and some medals and whatnot. And he's put in, I think it's somewhere along the line of like 16 or 17 years. And they give him credit for time served plus 3 years so that he could retire 20 full military pension. Okay. He had a very lovely wife and all this. And she kind of liked the military. And they wanted to be able to be in a spot where they could see things go on. So on one of the hills across the highway from White Sands testing area, that's where they built their house and lived. And everything's fine, and they're bumping along. They drink beer. They sit on the porch, drink beer, and watch the fun and games when somebody shoots a missile off, that sort of stuff. Then one day, they're sitting on there on the porch, and the dog starts barking. And what's the matter with you, dog? And it acts like it wants you to follow it. Well, okay, so the old man says, "I'll be right back. It's probably a jackrabbit or something that the dog can't stand it." And he walks around the corner and lo and behold, guess what? There sits the exact duplication of the ET saucer he was chasing when all this other stuff started. And he looks at that and he's going, "Oh boy, did I forget to pay the parking meter or something and they're after me or what?" He don't know what stuff. So the door opens and out comes his CT, and the ET looks at him and says, "You don't look that much different than you did when we caught you in the aircraft." "What do you mean?" "Well, I was one of the crew members that and told him his name and all this other happy stuff. I'm not going to give names either, but you'll like the story. Now, ET is extraordinarily intelligent, and they have a thing called common sense that they exercise the hell out of. And one of the things to do if you're trying to visit somebody and you got some kind of a military base on steroids right across the road from you is make sure they don't see you come up to visit. So there's a little hill behind the guy's house, and it's just tall enough that nobody from the White Sands can see that little hill. Now they can see his house, but you can't see over that. And they come up over the hill and landed in the backyard. Dog went nuts. Finally, they made friends with the dog, and it didn't seem to mind their presence too much. And they got to talking and whatnot. And ET drinks different things than we do for libation. They don't drink alcohol. They drink other things. So offering the guy a beer, he says, "I like fuzzy drinks, but I don't like beer." So what he means, "So I've tried it before, and it just don't taste right to me." "Oh, okay. What is it you would like?" And the guy said, "Once upon a time, quite a few years ago, we were visiting another friend of ours, and he gave us the most delicious meat we'd ever had in our whole lives." "And what do you mean?" And he said, "Well, he called it a jackrabbit." Did you get the picture? So the guy says, "Well, it'll take me a few minutes." He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, there's a bunch of them live down a holler over here. I'll have the wife fire up the grill. I'll go out and shoot me a couple of jackrabbits, and we can have some jackrabbit on the grill." "Oh, that's lovely." This apparently is some kind of humongous delicacy, to the ETs.
I don't get
And
that.
so he went down there. He gets 3 or 4 jackrabbits and brings them up, skins them out, and throws them on the grill and all that. And everybody is just loving up the barbecued jackrabbit. He had some barbecued and some just cooked and whatnot. And he endeared himself to the whole crew. There was enough for the whole crew, and he and his wife to have some, and that was all pretty neat. And E.T. looked at him. He says, "We ought to make an exit that really starts some fun and games." And the guy said, "What do you mean?" He said, and E.T. looked at him and grinned and said, "Well, hold my beer and watch this," kind of thing, right? E.T. goes over, crew gets back on the ship, everything's cool. Oh, and he did get let's see, what was it? He did get one whole rabbit. Wasn't barbecued, but it was cooked on the grill. He got one whole rabbit to take with him.
What ET race was this anyway?
Do what?
What ET race was this?
Oh, no. I'm not getting into any particulars.
Most of them don't eat meat.
I know. That's not exactly the truth. Okay, and I'll tell you why. There are certain types of flesh that, and it's most of the varieties are found on our planet, And if you happen to have some and you happen to accidentally give some to the ETs, oh, you are in their good graces. Big time, right? Anyway, ET says, I'm going to make an exit that ought to stir up a whole lot of shit. He says, and the guy looks at him at the ET and he says, you ain't going to get me in trouble. And he says, no, you shouldn't get in any trouble at all. I tell you what we'll do, though. We will definitely kick the hornet's nest. He said, what do you got in mind? He says, watch this. Gets back on his ship. And sure enough, the ET takes off, sneaks back over behind the hill, goes down just a little bit, jumps out over the hill where everybody and their mother-in-law can see him, buzzes White Sands Air Force Base several times, buzzes the shit out of them, and then takes off. And yeah. Well, they did question the guy, you know, did you see any ETs? I heard some funny noises and the radio kept going on and off and shit, but other than that, no. Lion sack, right? This fun and games with the ET, in this particular case, has been going on for 25, 30 years. Every time they take off, they find another way to approach the White Sands, and when they zoom around over there, it freaks everybody out. Airplanes start taking off, and a couple times they actually shot rockets at them. Now, what was funny about that was they caught the rockets and gently put them down in the sand. I mean, you know, what are you going to do? You got a surface to air missile that's supposed to blow up anything, and anything. And these guys just snatch hold of it real calm, cool, and collected. Wait until it runs out of gas, calmly place it on top of a sand dune, and flies away. They have been screwing with these people for 30 years or better. White Sands will not admit to that. Oh, you want to start an international incident? Next time you talk to Moscow, if you ever do, ask them about the red-eyed demon of the Kremlin. Ooh, that's an ET friend of mine that just loves screwing up their minds. He goes, poof, and he's sitting on our friggin' desk. What's the matter with you, boy? That sort of shit. Think about doing that to Putin as you begin to get the picture.
Oh, he has. He's appeared.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. He'll screw with anybody. It's a game. Catch me if you can. That's what ET's playing.
They call
you think there's no evidence?
Demon?
The red-eyed demon just, one of my friends looks like some kind of a blackout in a humanoid shape. You know, looks like a silhouette. Mm-hmm. And right in there, he's got two flaming eyes of fire. Well, red-eyed demon, you begin to get the picture, right? They have more fun with this than you can imagine. They especially like our tradition of Halloween because they can wander around the streets and be themselves and nobody cares.
Yeah, they think it's a great costume, right?
Yeah. So anyway, that's the ET story of the day or whatever. But yeah, I've talked to Valiant Thor a few times and his commander. I told the commander that he should actually really let the secret space program go into deep space, but limit what they can do. In other words, when they send out a scout craft and they're looking around, make it act like it's running out of gas or something, you know, and ET does that sort of stuff, no problem. So they can't go very far. And that really screws up the program, I'm telling you. But deep space got out of hand once, and they won't do it again.
Well, aren't they afraid that if they let us go into deep space, that we will, cause havoc by shooting first and asking questions later or something on that?
Well, they made that mistake once. After they had gotten done building their mothership, one of the idiots on one of the they call it a scout ship. It's actually a very light duty fighter. And the dummies fired on the flagship of the ET. Didn't damage much anything. Took a little paint off, I think, was about the sum of it. Well, ET got pissed. Took over every form of communication they had on that friggin' ship and said, "You've done it now. You shot at me. My turn." They cut off about 20 foot. We had a cigar-shaped craft as a mothership.
Yeah.
They cut about 20 foot off the end of it. And it says, "Now, here's the deal. You do it again, and we double that. Every time you shoot at us. Now, you are limited whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, we don't care. Here's how it is." And they explained the facts live to them. You know, "Thou shalt, you shall not do this. Don't screw with certain ships that we have, or else," kind of thing. But that's just some of the ET stuff. Now, the thing about the Space Command that Trump started is that it is the manner in which they can finally come out publicly with the secret space program. That's what that's for.
Space Force.
It's not just a whoopity-doo. Now, we have treaties on this planet with everybody that we won't put any weapons in space. And guess what? Everybody's violated that.
Geez.
You know, what are you doing? What do you do if you put the military in charge? Lock and load.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that, you know, this whole planet would be better off if we didn't have to do that, you know, or have.
Well,
I guess
the military and others are being put in a trick bag of compliance or cease to exist. Now,
kind of like the Godfather deal.
yeah, as a matter of fact, it is. Each and every last thing that they got can run out of a combination of fuel and power. Think about that. If you're in space, that's a real serious problem.
Yeah, that would be.
It'd be hard to breathe pretty quick. I mean, you know, and you can't get away from it. Oh my, oh Lord, oh please, you know. Anyway, the general consensus of the people in the deep space secret program was primarily like that old song. "Please, Mr. Custer, I don't want to go." Well, you're dealing with entities advanced enough that they can transmute matter into anything they want. They've turned our nuclear warheads into chocolate pudding. Why? ET likes chocolate pudding.
Not like nuclear warheads.
Well, what was really funny was the one they did at the Olympics in London.
Yeah.
Well, they did two or three of them actually, but the main one that I liked best was they put a proximity detector on the fusing of one of the nuclear missiles, and turned the nuclear warhead into, I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 tons of popcorn. They like popcorn too. And some dinglebat went in there and screwed with it and set it off. Now, if you can imagine, several tons of popcorn getting popped all at the same time, you begin to get the picture.
Now, we didn't see this on the media, did we?
Oh, no. But you did see some evidence because they showed popcorn coming up out of they got those little grates next to the curb. There's popcorn coming up out of the grate. They weren't quite sure. Look at that. That's kind of odd, isn't it? Yeah, well, so what? And they didn't pay no attention to it. But anyway, it made a section of popcorn. Now, remember, this drain is 18 feet in diameter, and it made a section of popcorn some 68 feet long. They had a hell of a time unclogging that drain.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they're cool. I like ET. They're fun.
So, what I understand that the History Channel was running a special on Thor, and I understand.
Yeah, the History Channel was.
I have, I heard that he has an IQ of like 1,200. Is that correct?
That's pretty accurate. They've got 3 kinds of IQ tests. All right. The first one is very general, to see whether or not you're alive, breathing, warm-bodied and can stand up. That's the military level, right? Number two is to kind of generally figure out whether or not you got any brains. It goes up to 200, okay? Then they have the one that I took. This is the third time I took one. They have the one I took, which is open-ended. Now, open-ended means that you can accelerate your learning capacity as you go. And so they said, see what you got. I said, okay, you asked for it. I was accelerating I was doubling my acceleration every 2 minutes. And I reached 400 and they turned it off. They didn't want me to break the machine.
Well, how do you happen to have this capacity to be able to do such a thing?
Well, it's very simple. There's a thing called universal knowledge, and it's like a big friggin' library, and I got a library card. And so the first thing I did was correct the test that they gave me, especially the mathematics. That was draconian. Oh, it's high level trigonometry. Well, trigonometry is grade school level from these people. So I wrote down some stuff, and one of them I did. I wasn't being very nice. I don't think they'll ever figure it out. They're still puzzling over it. But the capacity of an individual is pretty much only limited to your imagination and what is available according to whether or not you can accept the fact that there is such a thing as universal knowledge. It's sort of like God's library card kind of thing. Anything you want to know just about. And you're told what you can and cannot put out and stuff like that. But it's kind of neat. I mean, and I hate the idea of, I do my best to subjugate my own self. I murdered my ego years ago, but it still tries to claw its way back in. And making sure that I don't come off as being smarter than everybody is one of my passions. People are uncomfortable when they think you're smarter than they are. And, they look at you funny and all that sort of shit. And I don't need that. I'm just a regular old people.
Well, you probably have more knowledge than the average guy has access to. Maybe that's all it is. Some of us haven't got the same level of access. Does that make sense?
No? Yeah. Everybody has the capability of having access. That's something everybody needs to understand. Now, the trick is learning how to. There we go. Okay. Is learning how to exercise it at high speed. You can meditate for several hours and get there. Okay. The trick of it all is going full psychic almost instantaneously as needs. And that's basically the trick. In other words, what an individual would do who is starting out in this area would be to concentrate, all right? And I mean heavy, deep concentration. This shirt is acting funny. Heavy, deep concentration. And take it pretty deep, then turn it off. Then see if you can get there quicker. It's kind of like a kid trying to run up the hill as fast as Dad does. That sort of thing. It's a contest of that nature, but it's within yourself rather than anything else.
It's a practicing it is what.
Yeah. Once I used to snap my fingers a lot. Can't do it much anymore. Not worth 10 cents. Well, my joints got all screwed up doing different things over my lifetime, and consequently, they don't work like they should. I'm also kind of an old fart. That don't help either. But at any rate, the thing is this: irrespective as to age, and irrespective as to what you think of yourself, all you have to do is make the simple decision that little engine made. He's climbing the hill. I think I can. I thought I could. Okay, well, that's the ideology. Now, here's the reason for this. Very few of the ETs can turn on as that instantly of bingo. And you're looking at them through psychic eyes. You're not seeing with your eyes as much as you are with your mind. Now, that is very ancient. That goes back to the origins of martial arts. You see with your mind, not with your eyes. And when you learn to do that, then you walk around the house with your eyes closed, really confuse people.
So you're coming from the mental plane.
Well, it's a combination. It has to do with the physicality that you develop in the exercise of your meditation. Meditation is is singling your mind down to a singularity of one simple idea and running with it. And the other part is taking it all the way down to nothing and looking around. Boy, you'd be amazed how much space there is out there. In terms of allowing your mind to expand into everything. Well, it's easy once you get over the hurdle, but you got to play a little engine. I think I can.
Do you meditate daily?
Do I who?
Do you meditate daily?
Several times a day, usually. The meditation is, like I stipulated, it went from several hours of heavy effort to, let's see here, a couple of nanoseconds. But it's the same kind of exercise. It accomplishes the same goal. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And go from there. Now, like if you need something to happen, you can do that almost instantaneously. If you need somebody to do something, you can cause that person to want to do that thing almost instantaneously. Now, there's two keys. One, you do not go into the innermost workings of a person's mind to find out anything more about them than trusting them a little bit. And it'll tell you right off whether or not you can trust them, that first level of that. Okay, number two, you never force anybody. You always ask their permission first. That takes care of most of the problems. If somebody's really interested in doing this stuff, I mean, it's easy. My books explain it real simply.
Keep my blog that where I have the books listed.
Going like crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hack it, and then I have to put it back up again, and hack it, and have to put it back up again. And there are people that ask me where your books are, and they try to go to Amazon. I said, I put it in the description of the YouTube video almost every time that I, put the video out, so it's always there. I mean, it might get hacked if you don't get at it right away, but I always put it there, and they're free.
Yeah, well, put it on Cosmic Voice.
You can't put it on Facebook. They won't let you.
Oh, yes, it will.
Well, I don't know how to do it. Maybe you know how to do it. You can do it. If you can do it, go for it. But we couldn't figure out how to get it to give it.
It all depends on one thing: how hard you hit Zuckerberg.
Well, you need to give him a good whop upside the head, okay?
I was thinking about kicking him in a good place. But I know the thing about the interesting thing about Facebook right now is that it is changing back to what it originally started to be in terms of freedom to an extent. Now that's limited to an. If you want total freedom, and you're not trying to start a revolution or a riot or something of that nature, Gab is one I'll recommend. I use that a lot.
Oh, I've heard Gab before.
Yeah, well, it's the one that does not have the kind of rules that Facebook does. It does not have a jail they put you in or any of that crap.
Isn't that funny? I mean, get real.
Well, and Gab, I got honorable mention. I took the whole, when Facebook shut me down, I took the whole Cosmic Voice group and put it in Gab. So if they want to shut me down, be my guest. Just don't expect us to come back. Think about that very carefully.
Wow, it's the problem that I have anyway, maybe others do too, is that I've gotten so accustomed to, and I didn't even like Facebook at first. I wasn't ever going to be on Facebook because of things I heard. And then I got used to it, and now it's hard to switch to something different. But
yeah, Gab's not all that different than Facebook. You'd probably like it.
I have been there, but I didn't continue.
Well, what you want to do is write this down. Don't tell nobody. Just write it down. This is dang it. There you go.
Oh, I could have put my spectacles on and see that. Ah, okay.
If that doesn't work, put this in between the end of my name and Hilljack.
Okay.
Try both of them. I forget which one it is. I get around the world so much, it's pathetic.
Sometimes I need 2 glasses here lately. It's really bad.
Anyway, so the situation is very simple. There's a lot of things going on right now that nobody can see, and a lot of those are taking place right here on the planet. All the horse shit that we just got done with in terms of the impeachment and all that crap, put us in a position to be able now to demand certain things. And, well, I'm going to take a little piece from my up-and-coming show on Saturday from, now, I'm going to recommend that everybody get in touch with these people. That's the name of it.
Oh, okay.
And it's from Judicial Watch.
Oh, okay. I know them.
What's interesting is this. They like Freedom of Information Act. Now they're using it. And here's something that is interesting. Now, very few people know about exactly what all is going on about the Ukraine situation. I'm going to give you a little heads up. The Vice President Joe Biden blackmailed the Ukraine on $1 billion worth of aid or fire the prosecutor that was after Biden. They fired the prosecutor. They got their aid. Yeah, okay. Now, to take it a step further, the prosecutor got funded, sort of accidentally on purpose, under the table around the back of the barn kind of deal. And he has filed suit, against Mr. Sleepy Joe. And here's part of the report. Now, this is in print. This is judicialwatch.org. Report suggests the Ukrainian embassy was a hotbed of anti-Trump deep state activism and tried to promote and protect leftist allies in Ukraine and the United States. That's what, and they're after all the documentation. Oops. Yeah, so the deep state is targeted. That's an official. That gives you an official idea as to the targeting of the deep state. Now, that's been mentioned twice that I know of. Once, Trump was doing real hard not to break up giggling. He said, I'm having the Department of Justice make spaces for several high-level politicians. He made that statement, okay? Then, after the impeachment, he stipulated that he had turned over a whole lot of things to his assistant to Mr. Barr, and better known as Bulldog Number 2, to go get these people. Oops. Now, that's 2 mentions, and the one in Judicial Watch tells me that the deep state has a serious problem. They're going to have a case of fleas.
Good.
Yeah, the kind that eat brains. So, that's one portion of this. Now, this is not just an effort strictly within the United States. This involves a majority of the countries on the planet. That's something a lot of people are not aware of. Deep states everywhere. They get their fingers in everybody's pie. They'll put their hand down your pants like, and demand reckoning. And, give up or I put my hand down your back. Dude, please.
Yeah.
Homie, don't play that shit. Now, you want to draw back a bloody stub, you put your hand down my pants. And about that time, I'll draw out my hunting knife and I'm ready to go. The situation has got to a point where it cannot be allowed to continue. The reason she was removed, withdrawn, Ivanovich.
Oh, hang on 1 second. I'm afraid.
Yep, go.
Okay, we're back on. I just had a maintenance man have to stop by and he's fixing something. So sorry about that. We can continue though.
Okay. Ivanovich, they started out saying, oh, that was nice. Really? Well, it depends on what you're doing as to whether it was nice and the manner in which she was removed. She was told, gather up her personal belongings, get on the airplane, and come back to the States. You're done, or back, or wherever she wanted to go, I guess. And she accepted. The reason she accepted was she did not want to end up being charged in this mess. Now, this mess is global, and it involves people who just wouldn't suspect. I'm not going to name names because they requested. I don't. But this is going to get huge. The balloon, let's see here now, second or third week of this month, boom, they're going to start popping things and people and a few other little goodies.
Well, good. I think where everybody's waiting for that to happen.
Once that happens, then the patriotism goes way up, and the horse hockey with get Trump by any means goes way down. Now, in several ways over the past few days, the Democrats have stepped on their own goodies once and caught it in a zipper the second time. So, oh, Mitt Romney had the courage to vote correctly. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, how'd you like to start?
Romney's done.
Good.
He's out. He's done. He will not get reelected. There will be problems with the paperwork. There will be problems with the voting machines. There will be problems with his personal health. Now, here's the deal. They have things that they have radiation guns or projection guns. It projects a certain frequency towards you. And depending on the distance, depends on the outcome or what happens in terms of whatever kind of gun is used. Everybody's heard of the heart attack gun.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
That has to be used within about 2 feet, or it won't give you a heart. It will give you a heart attack. However, it can upset your stomach for about 6 months if used at a distance of about 5 feet. Oh. Think about think about acid indigestion for 6 months. All the time for 6 months. Well, nobody wants that. So you can cause problems without killing anybody, just the extraordinary discomfort. Mm-hmm. You can put X-Lax in his chocolate cake. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done. But the gist of it is this. He's been told to retire. And not a request. That is an order, retire. So there it is.
That's funny because one of the first questions that we have is about Romney.
Well, ask away. I can stand it if you can.
Okay, let's do it then. Okay, here's the question with the beginning. A source mentioned Judy Byington is Mitt Romney's sister. How ironic is this? A child trafficker such as Mitt and his sister as a renowned therapist of child molestation victims. How can this character with such a link be an authority in Operation Disclosure? And does she have nefarious means? Please elaborate.
I think we ought to take both of them and play the game, will it float? Stick them in the toilet, and if they don't float, you flush it. That's my honest. I mean,
Bad.
The problem with her mitigation therapies and shit is that she has been called into question in terms of her motives for taking a patient as an example. And that's come out a couple of times. It was on the QT 2 times. One time, the lady wouldn't shut up. They haven't been able to do anything to that lady that won't shut up. But the allegation's there. So, Okay?
Okay. Next question. I have done research on Internal Revenue Service update and none functioning and no sign of flat tax as promised for 2020 with no more taxes and supposedly Puerto Rico abolished tax revenue service with no power of enforcement still, as usual, according to maintained media and internet sources. Please, Drake, can you give us an update on that?
Sure. IRS is a bogus bunch of bullshit. Very simply, all you have to do if somebody has a question about your taxes is to force them, the IRS, in a court of law to present the law stipulating that they collect the taxes. It's illegal for a collection agency to collect taxes. Therefore, the IRS is bogus. It's a private collection agency. You want to pay your taxes? Send them to the Treasury Department and let the IRS argue with the Treasury Department. Ooh.
Now, people always are worried about, if they don't pay their taxes, they're going to come after them and put them in jail. Is that going to be,
How can a bogus agency put you in jail? Okay. How can somebody without the legal right, and the Democrats have tried this shit, and we got several states that have laws about this. No due process. Whatever law violates that has no standing. Bye-bye red flag laws. Bye-bye confiscation laws.
But it still happens, Greg. It still happens.
Hold on a minute. That's because they don't have the protections built in the manner in which they should. Now, I will elucidate. It's very simple. It's not complicated. Put together what's called a phone tree. And the phone tree goes to armed people, militia or otherwise. When the IRS shows up with a couple of cops and 50 people are standing around with shotguns saying, oh, no, you don't, I guarantee you the IRS will leave. They tried in Ruidoso, New Mexico, to enforce cutting trees down near people's cabins because it was a fire danger. And the people said no. And they came and showed up with their chainsaws and shit anyway. And they even brought a dozen law enforcement people. Only problem was 150 to 200 trees all of a sudden grew gun barrels and said, get out now.
That requires people working together.
Okay, well, you have the right to defend yourself, your property, and your way of life. That's constitutional law, whether anybody likes it or not. And I'm going to tell everybody one thing. Don't pay attention to that idiot Napolitano. That boy slipped through law class. How is it that some hilljack like me knows more about the constitutional law than that boy? He's supposed to be a judge. He ain't judging me.
Okay, how do you explain this, Drake? In 1871, they implemented a constitution for the corporate America, which isn't the same as the original constitution people want to believe is actually in effect. What's happening in that regard?
Well, it's very simple. You're not a member of the corporation. You do not work directly. You do not work directly for them. Therefore, they ain't got no friggin' rights. Bylaws are not law. Most of the laws that we have are not law. A law is very simply this. They take the idea of the law, turn it into a piece of legislation. They pass it in their House of Representatives, this is state level, House of Representatives and their Senate. Then the legal requirement is to put it up for referendum and or a vote by the people. Do you want this law? Yes or no? Very simple. It's not complicated. Now, speed limits, abide by them. Those things are thought out pretty well, and they do apply. I agree with that. However, there is no legal requirement to have driver's license, plates, hold on, registration, or any of that. There's a thing called free right to travel the King's Highway, and you have a free right to travel the King's Highway. It may not be impugned, or taxed or licensed in any way, shape, or form, according to the place where I found it. And I've sent you those things, but if you'd like them again, I'll send them to you. You can put them on your website if you want. Mm-hmm. Doesn't exist.
I've been, one of those people that have been in a position that attempted the right to travel and got put in jail because of it.
Well, that's very simple. You turn right around and challenge you turn right around, and this is neat. They have to go back to the original law. That you can't just arbitrarily put something on the books. It doesn't work that way.
So they got it on their books, that's for sure.
Well, here's how this works. Okay. Everybody should have a license for firearms and operation of motor vehicles and machinery. One-time test proves that you know what you're doing. You're not going to shoot yourself in the foot or blow your buddy's crotch off with your shotgun or whatever. You're not stupid enough to run over people on the highway and all that sort of thing. Okay, and I said one time. That's a lifetime license. One time, and that's it.
Oh, so they can't take it away from you then? Is that what you're saying?
Well, not in the constitutional sense, no. Because if you agree to that, then they don't have any recourse.
Well, I know that in Arizona anyway, that once you turn 65, they have to, you have to, get tested again or something like that.
Every year they want to be able to be sure that you can see and that you're not distracted easily by bugs flying around your windshield.
But that's not the only thing. There was a photo ticket. You can get a photo ticket and they can suspend your license or something.
Photo tickets are invalid. They've already been through the court on that shit. Sorry, it doesn't work. It's in. Hey,
they've done it to me.
All you have to look. People think it's funny to be subject and victimized. I don't think it's so goddamn funny. Here's how it works. Well, hold on. Here's how it works. It's real simple. This has already been through the court. Now, what you have to do is take that court and take it to the next level.
Mm. That's a very expensive process, though. That's the biggest.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sure there's somebody in your audience that's got money that would not mind putting somebody up to this shit. Okay, what that will do is eliminate the Department of Motor Vehicles. Poof, gone.
Yeah, well, if there's anyone out there that wants to help me on this one, I would be more than happy.
There you go. Now, if you want me to, I'll send you those things from the Freedom School about driver's licenses, if you'd like them. That's been through the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court agreed. The Supreme Court also agreed that you don't have to have a driver's license. Who argued with the Supreme Court? It ain't me, babe. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying, Drake. I just the people that are in positions of so-called authority still exercise that over people, and they have guns and badges. And
well, there's a problem with that. If they want to keep their friggin' gun, badge, and job, you want to keep it. Don't screw with the law or misadminister it, or you lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we need.
I personally grabbed a federal judge by the gonads and removed his ass. Believe me, I know how this works. Believe me, it does work.
Yeah.
Go get him.
We got some up here in Arizona. I think you'd like you to do that too.
Well, anyway.
All right. Next question.
Oh, there's more questions. Imagine
Oh,
that.
yeah. Thank you for that, Drake.
Mhm.
Please ask Drake when he has new batteries, or when his new batteries will be finished, if he will be shipping them to other countries, and how can we order some? Do you have any?
No, not batteries.
Okay.
My system does not operate on any moving parts, for one. Number two, it taps into a thing called dark energy, which is one of the basis fabrics of existence in all of space. Now, how big is space? Ooh, that's a battery and a half. What I'm telling you is that according to the size of the thing put together, depends on how much power you get out of it. I can put one together and throw lightning bolts all day long. It does not tire out, wear down, or give up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a design for 24 kilowatts. That you usually get that much out of the power company. Okay. Well, we could boost it to 30 kilowatts. Then you can run an extra panel and fire up the garage and put grandpa upstairs or whatever, however you want to do this. But what I'm saying is it's according to you. I will put the specialized circuitry together. I'm planning to do that in the next few days, and work out a design parameter that anybody, even if you're stupid, can handle it. Now, I may be selling that little circuit board. It ain't gonna be much because it don't cost much. But yes, the design and what you need to do, how to go about it, and a few other things. You will be required to get an electrician to hook it up correctly.
Okay, will we be able to let people know on the show here when that's available?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, next question. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. I definitely want one of those myself because I would like to eliminate an electric bill. But anyway, I find what you say laughable because the president took credit for the rigged stock market going up to 12 trillion in value when he is president. Nothing against President Trump. Please understand, Drake. But now that you said that the stock market will no longer exist or will fizzle, what will those Americans who lose all their pensions, 401ks, and savings think of President Trump if the stock market, as you say, will disappear or fizzle out? I'm sure you
don't need it. I've told people for a while now to sell their paper horse hockey. That doesn't mean anything. Convert it into cash, and then go buy gold or silver with it. You'll do better on the long run under that situation than you will anywhere else. Quite honestly. Okay. I mean, then I had one guy that actually bitched at me about, I bought silver and it went down. I said, oh, you poor little woomsy. That pissed him off. What I told him was, forget the value. Why? Well, silver and gold are valued in what? Dollars. And that's a fiat currency. Doesn't mean anything. If you go to the right site, you'll find that instead of 1,500 and something, it's closer to 1,900 and something. Ooh, that's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. What they do is they rank it according to purchasing power. Gold and silver are honored everywhere as a currency. Very simply, you make a long-term investment. You don't buy a hell of a lot unless you can afford it without, feeling it or worrying about it. If you got a small amount, eventually buy another little small amount and add to it. Pretty soon you got a nice little package. Okay. And what the deal is this: if and or when the currencies collapse, which is possible at any minute, by the way, or the stock markets, and I mean all of the markets, not just ours, all of the markets go flop, you got something that is recognized globally as a currency. And its value, this is funny, when currencies start going down, watch gold and silver. They are going up. Now, we have had what's called a conundrum where the stock market, usually gold and silver go up when the stock market goes down. Lately, they've been working in conjunction. That means that the end is near. Oh, whoopee.
Well, our currency is actually debt, and most people don't understand that either.
Yeah, well, it's monopoly money.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here's another one. When are property taxes going to go away?
That will happen after we transition and get rid of currency or cash-free society parameters. Comes under all that.
Yeah, people are afraid of that too for reasons they interpret it as being.
You got to understand what's going on. If you understand what's going on, there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
There's really a lot of truth in that statement, even though he was not a good guy. Okay. Oh, next question. This one gets a little long here because they always provide this explanation, so bear with me. You've said that when we transition, a lot of the issues related to dishonesty we're experiencing now will no longer exist here because we will be able to discern people's intentions, like as if it's some sort of magic wand of awareness. Yet you also said that you-know-who, with his tall tales, was able to get past both you and George for years. Given what we've gone through up to the current day, I'm uneasy about leaving the future of our civilization to woo-woo discernment powers. Will we be putting laws, institutions, procedures, and personnel into place to ensure this situation never happens again with swift enforcement capabilities?
Yes.
That was a simple answer for a long question.
Well, I understand what's going on, and it wasn't a period of years. It was a short period, and the short period ended when the disagreement started. To answer that part of the rest of that person's question, and I'm not going to name names.
Thank you. That's why I didn't either. Okay. But we know who we're talking about. Anyway, if pigs are loosely related to humans, do the hybridization of humans and boars, is it bad or otherwise unclean, like cannibalism to eat pork products?
No. What it is that pork flesh is too close to human flesh, and you don't want to get too used to it for fear you'll take a bite out of the neighbor that you don't like very much.
Okay, but is there any risk of developing Kuru disease?
Do what now?
Is there any risk of developing Kuru disease? K-U-R-U. Okay.
No.
Because of the similarity between the pork and human.
Look, it's very that goes along with not being able to keep the pork. In other words, because we didn't have refrigeration, it was poo-pooed in the Bible. No religious basis, just simply that you couldn't keep the stuff from poisoning you.
It also has trichinosis too. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, I could have sworn that in the past you've said replicators can imbue life force into food.
True.
That the replicator somehow pulls from the great pools of life force. Otherwise, it's not as nutritious or tasty. However, last week you said it couldn't do that. And that's why we were shipping watermelons into space as an example. Which is it?
Look, it's real simple, okay? There's no life force crap involved. What it does is it molecularly assembles it in such a manner that you can't tell the difference. And what's interesting, I don't love this. This is going to screw up all kind of dietary stuff, and I just love it.
Okay, screw it up anyway.
Well, how about this?
I for that.
When you assemble something to have a certain qualities, that does not necessarily make meat into what we are familiar with now. Ooh, think about it all being plant-based, only there's no GMO or other funny side effects, and you don't have to worry about eating meat because you ain't eating meat. How about that one?
I like that one. I like that one a lot. I like to eat anything that has a face and a heart, you know? But anyway, that's me.
The thing about replicators is this. I'm going to. Oh, that was a good one.
Oh, bless you.
I knocked a cockroach off the wall. I'm kidding. We don't even have cockroaches. Okay, so here's the deal. Replicators cannot handle anything that is fermented.
Yes.
And do it well. Like sauerkraut is a really good example. Replicators make the nastiest sauerkraut known to be in existence. We will have a ready market for all the sauerkraut we can make. That's just cabbage.
Something funny, Drake. I grew up in a town called Franksville, and that's what they made there was sauerkraut.
There you go. It's going to be a booming place.
That was a hint of what I was supposed to do in the future. I don't know.
Okay, now the replicators can reproduce certain alcoholic spirits. Not all of them, but some of them very well.
Really?
But it's also something, you're talking about something that is aged in a certain manner for a certain reason. Mm-hmm. And the replicator can reproduce all the flavors and all that, along with their alcohol content. But the thing is that people don't understand the ideology of the science. It draws from dark energy, just like my machine does, okay? And what's neat about it is that when you get into the atomic subparticle areas, which is where the replicators do most of their work, you can't tell the difference between tomatoes and beef. At that level, there's no difference. So it makes it come out with a taste of a tomato or steak or something of that nature.
So basically, it's just, you're reminding me of something on Star Trek, that it's nourishment.
Yeah, well, but it is nourishment in what you would like to have it taste like. You could. Okay. You can make one hell of a chef's salad, I would imagine. I don't. And here's the thing: I haven't dealt with a lot of replicators. I know the science involved, and I know what they basically can do, but I'm not no expert. We will have a technical expert when these things start being given out. That will have its very own channel that will tell you, okay, here's how you put your underwear in when they're nasty, and be careful how you handle it. Recycle, clunk, bzzz, new one, bzzz, open the door, take out your brand new set of underwear.
Okay, so you haven't actually experienced or seen this happen, have you, or have you?
I've seen it on ships, yes.
Oh,
but I've not operated the machines either. Okay. And some of the stuff that ET eats, I wouldn't, makes me suspicious just because of the way it looks, the smell it has. But what really gets me is that sometimes the shit wiggles. And I went to a place once and we were having this luxurious dinner and it was really cool right up until the guy rang the little bell to get everybody's attention. Ding, he's going to make an announcement kind of shit. And my dinner looked up at me and went, jumped up and ran out the friggin' room. I said, I lost my appetite.
Yeah, really, I'd lose it real fast. I don't eat anything. That's creepy.
Yeah. Think about eating something and having it crawling around in your belly. Oh, boy.
Ultimately, what the big question on this whole thing about the replicated food would be, is it safe to eat, and will it actually nourish us in a manner that is good for our health?
Better than what we have now. Okay, you're not going to have. There's no reason for any chemicals. This is why I stipulate when you get your replicator, and it will be reinforced by the person that's instructing you about it. They will insist that you go get the best chemical-free, whatever it is that you can find to program into your replicator. That way you're going to get absolutely organic, okay? And right down to the molecular level, there ain't no chemicals of any kind. Bingo.
Would it be able to recognize a chemical or something that might have slipped in somehow? Let's face it, most of the food we eat, GMO, it might have chemicals or.
Well, you remember the Beam Me Up Scotty stuff on the transporter? Okay,
Yeah.
they also stipulated very clearly that they had a biofilter.
Ah, okay.
Okay, well, these things not only have a biofilter, but they also have a chemical filter. Anything that does not belong in the plant, it ain't gonna allow it in there. Bingo.
Yeah, that's what
So
was.
you're gonna get crunchy lettuce that lasts for a week.
Yeah, that's with the nanotechnology that they use now. With
Well, you think about it.
keep
If you don't have something, in whatever it is you're fooling with to make it go bad, that's gonna last quite a while.
Yeah. Okay.
But you ain't gonna have to worry about that. Eat what you want, hit recycle, it puts it all back into the.
Okay. Well, this next question, I'm going to have to say, I don't think we should be so judgmental, but anyway,
All right.
you can take it wherever you want. Can we put liberals, socialists, and Democrats into one of your detention infinity pods so they can see the folly of what they've been advocating for by having to live through it coming to fruition?
Okay. Very simply, there are certain rules, laws, and conditions that go along with our transition. You won't find out about all of them until after you transition. Now, here's the deal. The people who have serious problems with everything, like some political entities, and I ain't going to say which one because all of them are guilty of it, quite simply, will be re-educated. Now, that re-education takes several forms. One is to lay it out and explain to the individual what the problem with what they're thinking is, okay? If that don't work, then they use a form of permanent mind control, where these things just don't come up in the way that they have in the past. If it's really serious, they open your skull up and rewire your silly ass, or brain, excuse me, wrong end.
Okay. Now, I that reminds me. I remember the movie Matrix. Okay,
Yeah.
and I remember in particular the blonde woman that walks by and he does a double take, like this, and then the guy tells him that she's one of the Matrix people, and that will fight to preserve the Matrix because of their which is reminding me of some of these people and the way they're acting that some of us don't understand. Are they real people?
Yes. The thing about the Matrix is that it had a lot of stuff in it. One of those in particular, what you're talking about specifically, okay, is not designed for what everybody thought it was. It was not a control process or procedure. It was the beginning of an elimination procedure when a certain agent is interrogating Morpheus. He says so. We are here to eliminate you. Machines are much more efficient. Okay, the machines, even though, listen to Neo and acquiesce to the idea of not having to fight each other. We can do a lot more if we don't fight and maybe even work together on some things. And Neo got that idea across, and the machine said, "Okay, prove it." Bingo, he proved it. Peace. Okay, people want peace on Earth. And Parabellum, Book 3, about John Wick, stipulates, if you want peace, prepare for war. And prepare for war is the word parabellum. In other words, you're going to have to defend the right, okay? And I don't mean the right wing, but those things that are sanctified by the Creator. We're going to have to defend all this if we wish to continue as a race. If we don't wish to continue as a race, lay down, roll over, and let them do what they want to with you. And eventually they'll get tired of that, and you're done. Ouch.
Mm.
Ooh, I didn't study psyops without a reason.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let's see. Okay, next question. I'm going to have to ponder that one. When liberals and the rest get their brains rewired, will that fix them being so easily manipulated with lies and emotionally charged language?
It will fix all of it, to include that. Now, here's a mind blower. We're not going to have the free society everybody thought it was going to be. We're going to move into a semi, and I remember this now, semi-socialist environment, but it's one that's acceptable, palatable, and non-interferial.
Okay.
Think about how to do that.
I like the fact that you use the word semi, because as soon as you say socialism, people equate it with communism, and that's not what you're talking about, right?
Exactly. When you go to a cashless society, that is socialism right there. Bingo, big time. But you have a card, just like your food stamps. It gets charged up every so often so that you can do certain things with it, okay? Yes, you're going to have vacation planets like they had on Star Trek, where you can go do anything you can imagine, any kind of experience. Oh, boy. Probably end up with a lot of divorces, but anyway, the situation is simple. You can take your earned credits and expend them in that manner. You can take those earned credits and put them into partial ownership of a spaceship. There's a lot of things you can do with it. It's not limited anymore.
Wow. And it's not going to be such that certain groups of people have so much more than other groups of people.
Exactly. You know, they won't need it. No, nobody will need very much of anything of what people look at right now. There we go. Simply because your needs will be met. By that, I mean, you get dirty clothes. Well, it's simple. You strip them off, put them in a replicator, hit recycle, and then hit new set.
And you don't have to buy laundry soap or have a washing machine or any of that.
You got it. You won't need a refrigerator. You won't need a stove. Now, here's the thing. In the upper echelons of ET life and the world and worlds, somebody that can cook is considered a rarity. You will have celebrity status on that alone. So if you can cook something or put something together that's yummy, and this is interesting, because there's such a variety of ETs and they have such differentially, totally convoluted needs in terms of taste, etc., in terms of foods.
Mm-hmm.
It's best if you go to one of their restaurants and try a sampler platter. That'll give you an idea. You know, try just to stick your finger on it. Oh, good Lord, no, whatever. And some of it's going to taste really great. And if you recognize it, you might be able to one-up them real big and create a hit. You don't know, okay? Artistry is prized. And artistry in all its all the forms you can think of it in. Innovation, that's a big number too. Innovation, taking something that already exists, remodel, overhaul it, and bring it back out as something. Well, it used to be one of these, now it's one of these. Really cool.
You know what? That is something that exists within the human character that I think is unsurpassed. People just come up with some of the most amazing things sometimes. And people who have been totally deprived of many things in life. Like I have seen some ideas and things that have come out of people who were inmates or something like that. And I've just been, oh my God, how'd you ever think of that? You know, kind of thing.
Well,
and
it's called imagination. It's something that's drummed the hell out of kids when they're too little to know the difference. Okay, this should be something that parents fertilize like crazy and make it a standard part and procedure of living. What'd you think of today in school? Oh, I got the teacher running around in circles.
And most of the time, in my past anyway, that would have been considered horrible to do such a thing. You're supposed to don't toe the line. And so so imagination has been suppressed, really.
Yeah, it's drummed out of you in school. It's designed, general education is designed to do that very thing. And the ideology that we have, and this is ridiculous, socialists as college professors and teachers, that's a big no-no in my book, and we need to get rid of them. So we'll go from there. Well, eventually we might get to a point where things are actually satisfactory to most everybody.
Wouldn't that be nice? I can't wait.
We'd probably kill a third of the population and fall over with major palpitations. Oh, my God.
I was just, the next question is related to what's been going on with Trump and the trial and all that crap.
Yeah.
And it's, it's all been dropped now. They're talking about Schumer and if, and so I don't know why. Okay, here's basically what is coming down. Why are our elected representatives allowed to spin, smear, and outright lie on TV, in Congress, and elsewhere with reckless abandon? And if we lie to them, we go to jail.
Guess what's changing? Expect the unexpected. Well, yeah, let's put it this way. Think of Nancy Pelosi with her hammer in her hand, and she's getting ready, and she's standing before the august body, and some crazy podunk like me walks up and says, "Hey, baby cakes, you're under arrest for treason." I bet you could hear the squawk clear to California from Washington, D.C. But that's what you can expect. These people that have been doing these things do not understand that their statements can be used as legal fodder to convict them. Mm-hmm. I don't know of too many that will be. There won't be a lot of death sentences necessarily, but there will be a few. I can tell you that.
With the stance that they've taken, they're the ones that are supposed to be abiding by the rules that they have created, and they don't even come close to doing that. So,
they're making up their own rules.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. The other question on that, well, how fair or just is that? And obviously it's not, and it hasn't been fair, and it hasn't been just because it's been just us. And we're not in the club, like George Carlin used to say.
Yep.
Okay.
And they own everything, and they're after you, and they're going to get whatever they want.
Yes. Okay. You said they're not allowed to lie, but where is the DOJ and law enforcement? Where have they been for well over 100 years? They've been corrupted.
Ooh, that's a long time. I'd say let's make it 10 years, and let's look at something. The stocks in rope have been going up because they're giving them enough rope to hang themselves.
And they've done a good job. They should be, okay. All right. Will the myriad of lies and smears spewed by Democrats about President Trump, his followers, and Republicans generally ever be publicly corrected?
Yes, it has to be. It has to be two things. It has to be first of all adjudication. Secondly, it has to be retraction. There's no other way to get around it. The thing is that the United States is the keystone state to the planet. This means that we got to be on our finest behavior, and we have to conduct things by the the finest law, legality, and morality that you can get, and that's where this is going.
Ethical and integrity and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the leaders that we've believed and followed and so on, with the exception of just haven't been what we thought.
Yeah,
We've been fooled. Okay. QAnon and you and I believe have said that impeachment is the deep state cabal's last hurrah.
It is.
We already know Schiff and company will just try again and again, all the while spinning more lies, and they have plenty of time to try before the next election. Now that the impeachment is basically over, how long before Trump and the Patriots go on the attack against the deep state and their Democrat and Republican minions?
Well, my. I tell you to give it. I'm gonna bring up an old joke I used to pull on everybody. I'd tell them how long it was gonna be, and everybody would go, "What?" And then it got to be a joke because I did it all the time, and I did it because I thought it was funny. Well, I think this is funny. Figure 2 weeks.
Okay.
Everybody in the world knows that joke. The time frame is when it happens, right?
Yeah. It's like people always want dates, and dates are a problem because all they do is provide a warning system to those that are.
I got a little comeuppance for those people. Learn to read a timeline, yeah, dinks.
Okay. Most people won't be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Can jump rooms be used like elevators in a ship or a building?
Yeah, but you don't physically move. You just walk across the room, open the other door, and you're there. Whether it's up, down, sideways, whatever.
Do you program where you want to go?
Yeah, you have you got a double address. You punch in the address you want to go to, okay, numerical type of thing. And the other side of the jump room automatically will bring you back. All you got to do is come over, open that door, walk back through, close it, walk back through, open the other, and you're back home again.
Oh, wow. I look forward to trying one of those.
It's going to be fun.
I want to go off planet myself. But anyway.
No, you don't.
I don't. Why?
No. Well, you got a spacesuit. You got to be able to breathe.
Well, no, I assume one would be provided.
Oh, uh-huh.
But there's a lot of places on the planet that I would like to go to.
Well, just because I ain't got one don't mean the government won't give me one. Yeah.
There's all kinds of places that are beautiful.
Right.
And I would love to be able to see that, resources and finances keep you from being able to do those things. But anyway, can jump rooms be secured from unwanted arrivals?
Yeah, they already are. It's similar to the filter on the transporter in Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Very similar. Doesn't matter which it does it. If you're not from this planet, you don't get in without permission or somebody with you. Just that simple.
Okay.
That's why we don't. I'm going to tell you a little story. Barack Obama tried out the jump room, and the dinglebat did not know what he was doing, so he put us in a funny code. And that funny code took him back to the time of the dinosaurs, and he went out to a far door, and no, he was running around in a circle. He ran into the door about 3 times before he was able to open it. Yeah, okay, and he got in and slammed the door. My God, it was trying to eat me.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I question the taste of the dinosaur myself, but that's just me.
Okay. Question for Drake.
Yeah.
What was your opinion? I knew this one was coming up. What was your opinion of Nancy Pelosi publicly tearing up President Trump's State of the Union speech and Trump's speech? Well, same thing, but okay.
Yeah. Well, I think it was funny to watch a woman of her age have a tantrum first. Secondly, she violated federal law by tearing the thing up. Oops. So if they wanted to take her funky self to jail, ooh, come on with me, great grandma. Put the hammer down and come with me. You're in a heap of trouble.
You're in a heap of trouble. Now, I heard, and I don't know, obviously it probably isn't true. She actually tore up his speech, but someone else said that it was her indictment. I don't know.
No.
Okay.
Tearing up an indictment doesn't do anything. Except make the police that are going to abscond your butt mad.
Yeah, okay.
That's what you want. Go ahead.
Was that? Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
What will happen to the Forex trading after the reset?
You're going to find that precious metals still have the probably an even greater value, specifically silver. Silver is going to go up about 100 times what it is now. Now, here's the deal. The reason for that is that you, with the proper capability of manipulation of matter, you can take gold and silver and combine them. They got a substance called brass. You look it up to see what it is. The substance in this particular case is a precursor to element 115. Anybody does not know what element 115 is? Oh, you got homework. Go look it up.
I got a question for you on that one, though. If that kind of thing continues, obviously there are people that are very skilled at that kind of thing. Doesn't that create a situation where you're going to have certain people that have those skills that are going to accumulate high levels of wealth, if you will, and then that's going to leave the rest of the people behind?
No, that is part of the deal. You can't do that. It physically is not possible to accomplish that.
Oh, good. So they would have, like, if they were able to do that, they would have to go maybe to humanitarian projects or something like that?
No, they just won't be able to do it. They're not going to be in charge of it.
Oh, okay. So then there really wouldn't be much benefit to doing that in the first place. Is that correct?
Well, basically what it's going to amount to is that the collateral accounts will be released. What that means is that each and every last person in need will have their needs met. Not greeds, but needs.
Needs, yeah. Those
I'm part of the committee.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Can replicators be hooked up to the Akashic records to make something that is no.
No.
That was a bizarre question.
It don't work that way. Sorry. You got to hook your mind up to the Akashic records. Try that one. That'll keep you busy for a couple days.
Say that again? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Hook your mind up to the Akashic records and see how that goes. That ought to keep you busy for a couple days at least. Probably more like 2 weeks.
That should be an interesting project. I'm going to get myself some help with some
especially when you turn that funny green color that the emerald tablets are, which is what the Akashic records are composed of. Oh, do you think people look funny at you if you were green? I bet they would.
That's interesting.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Is reset meaning that they're going to change our money for a new money? Or value? Or exactly what does it mean?
What it means is the global currency reset is a leveling of the playing field so that no country or entity within any of the countries has an upper hand over all of it. It is going to be an even playing field. One case, a country will have certain values, X, Y, and Z. This one over here has got A, B, C. And what they're going to do is they're going to level them out and make them equitable. The inequality everybody's talking about, that'll solve a lot of it, first of all. Secondly, the initiation of a cashless society takes away the capability of being greedy, pretty much.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
No, it's funny because I remember way back when they were talking about the Y2K thing, and I was thinking, boy, that would level the playing field, but it never happened.
Aw, shucks.
Aw, shucks. This is probably much better, but anyway.
Yeah.
All these people who are going to Gitmo after transition, are they getting out of Gitmo then?
Gitmo is a intermediate holding facility. They can be sent anywhere from that particular point. First of all, they're going to have to be tested and found that their insanity has been cured. Then they turn them loose in society, and not until. That's basically what transpires. Now, there are holding facilities that make Cuba, the country, the whole island, look itty bitty. So, the variations are in there. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, so people will be either rewired and fixed and able to re-assimilate, or something else. We won't go into that. Okay. Okay, why is President Trump giving a lot of money to the farmers if with the replicators we're not going to need to buy any more food?
Uh,
I didn't know he was doing that.
think about, hold on a minute. Think about how much time it's going to take and how many people it's going to take to get a replicator out to each and every household.
Yeah.
Think about that first, okay? It's going to take some time. Number two, some of the things that a replicator does just fine with are not something that is a readily available product.
Well, it's like
Hold on.
sour
Think bananas or pineapples. They're only available certain in season. Okay.
Okay.
So if you take that in mind, then you have an understanding that groceries, who may continue to sell produce and things of that nature, meats and whatever, may do just fine with a replicator. They replicate the stuff. You know that it's pristine clean at God level. Well, what do you do? What do you do with that?
Like
you munch all the way home.
It's kind of like from the word transition, it even applies to changing everything. It's just not, it's hard for that to all take place so quickly.
Well, yeah, it's like that little lamp you got over there in the corner.
Yeah,
I got one just like it sitting over here. Some people understand how things work, some don't. Some take the time and trouble to spend $10, and some don't. And there's no way to force somebody to be all they can be. They got to decide that. Well, once you make that decision and you decide you're going to be all you can, then oh man, the world opens up. Whew.
Yeah, this is so true. And well, some people have been so suppressed from childhood on that they don't see any hope. But once all of this starts to change, that's going to change in such a way.
You remember the song "Born in the USA"? Spend my whole life covering up horse hockey.
Yeah. Okay.
This ain't bop-a-mole.
Well, back to the farmer thing is one of the things that came to my mind was that I remember growing up in this small town where you had these fields of cabbage. In order to make sauerkraut, you have to have cabbage.
Yeah, exactly. Then to go along with it, in order to, you have to have a plethora, and I mean a huge number of specific supplements in order to make cattle immune to the diseases that they have to use the drugs for.
Oh, see, and they use drugs that are very bad, and I know this firsthand because I had the experience. They put hormones in their ears to make them grow faster and fatter. They feed them out for 3 months, approximately, on GMO corn.
Yeah.
And none of that's good.
Well, up here in West Virginia in the hills, they don't do that crap. Our farmers and ranchers up here don't believe in that shit.
There's a lot of small farmers that are ranchers that are exactly where.
Yeah, but the thing is that people won't eat the bad stuff now. So what's happened is that their market has declined, and the non-GMO good stuff is going up slowly but surely in terms of people wanting it.
Yeah, well,
you don't want breakfast cereal to make you glow in the dark. Don't eat General Mills. It's real simple.
Oh, that's so true. But anyway, okay, Drake. I just read the Galactic Codex.
Oh boy.
Are you ready for this one? YouTube video created by Cobra, transcribed below, which states that we have a right to seek and ask for intervention from the Galactic Confederation, even militarily, because that's our right as sentient beings. So why is 5G continuing to be implemented and even supported by Trump? Because 5G, after all, is the ultimate go-to for mind control, and we all know it. And why is human trafficking continuing? That's
okay. First of all, 5G, the artificial nasty one, doesn't make it. It don't get there. It won't function. Okay. The natural You heard me. Natural 5G does, and it don't hurt nobody. It can't be used for bad purposes. All right?
Where does natural come from?
You heard of the Schumann frequency?
Yes.
What is it? That's what the natural 5G, that's what the natural 5G is. What you have to understand is that there are keys, applications, and things that people do. One of the things everybody does is they take a hold of a stupid little plug and they plug it into a wall socket to get the power out to go light up your computer or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the natural 5G is exactly that simple. Okay.
Well, what confuses me then, is that, I just got the internet service changed because that's why our show is late, is because I was having problems with the other service provider, right?
Yeah.
Well, this one came and plugged in this new thing and said that it was 5G. And I'm going, wait a minute, I don't think I want that.
Can't be 5G. That's the problem. They'll tell you it is. 5G is not even on ready for broadcast level yet. Think about that very carefully.
Okay.
And every time they turn an artificial 5G on, it self-destructs in one form or another. There's several ways it does that. Circuit board blows up. The motherboard melts down. The whole thing catches fire and burns it. I mean, okay. Natural 5G has been approved by ET, and it don't do that shit. It's like plugging that plug into the wall socket. You get what you're supposed to get, not a whole bunch of horse hockey. And it cannot be used for nefarious purposes. Okay, now, what was the other part of this question? That's 5G. What was it? There was another part to it.
The mind control part, that the 5G was going to be used for mind control.
The natural can't be. The Schumann frequency don't do that, therefore the 5G can't.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump ahead on a question that comes to my mind because of other questions that have come up, and that's the 5G. Now, supposedly in Wuhan, there were like 10,000 5G towers. And there are others that are saying that because of those towers and because of the release of that bioweapon, all it did was make the virus, multiply exponentially.
Okay, 5G is not going to have 5G ain't going to have no effect on this virus. This virus is a bioweapon. CIA's got the patent on it, and they also have the chemical design for the antidote. So let them BS all they want. Now, if I were to find out after we get an antidote going and it works, and I find out later that they had this shit all along, I would not be nice. I might even go over to CIA headquarters and start shooting people. They think it's funny to kill all of us. Maybe they like to run from gunfire or something. Anyway, that's horse hockey. It doesn't work that way.
Certain frequencies, viruses will grow faster than others. Is basically.
I understand that, but 5G doesn't have anything to do with that. When the there's a big difference between waveform. One is artificial. That's the bad boy that you got to watch out for. It'll get in your ear and screw you up. Natural, it permeates your skin, your hair, and everything. Doesn't do it. It cannot be used for nefarious purposes. It's not possible. It's like concentrating the Schumann frequency and shooting somebody in the ear with it.
Okay. Well, what about our cell phones then?
Cell phones are nasty. They eat your brains. Even this stupid little radio phone I got right here eats your brains.
They're bad.
Anything that's over 525 megahertz is going to hurt you. Okay, I don't spend very much time on the phone except on my show. That's it. But go ahead.
I have another question for you then.
Yes.
If with the cell phone, you have two different types of, sometimes they have those Bluetooth things. Are those just?
It doesn't matter. It's the broadcast frequency of what you're using.
Okay.
Period.
So
okay. And it is. Well, it's broadcast strong enough to pop popcorn. What do you think it does to your brains?
Yeah, I know. I've seen them fry eggs with 3 or 4 cell phones.
Exactly. So what do you think it's doing to your brains? I mean, they
What's
even had a drug. They had an anti-drug commercial on, and they showed an egg. This is your brain. And then they had somebody take and crack the egg and drop it in a frying pan and start sizzling and shit. This is your brain on drugs. That's basically what cell phones do. Now,
yeah, but they don't say cell phones, do they?
Well, the thing about it is that it doesn't matter if you're texting or what. Think about that very carefully. Doesn't use as much power, but it does the same amount of damage.
Well, does it help if you keep it at a greater distance or no?
No, you got to be, somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 feet, 10 feet away. And I don't know too many people got arms that long.
No, I don't either. Or even wires that long. Like if you wire it to your,
exactly.
Wire it, it's usually not that.
You got to be careful about those earphones. And the reason you do is that there's two kinds. One, it puts out a very, very small amount of power. I mean, an infinitesimally small, totally harmless amount of power, and makes sound when the signal hits it. Okay, that's the old-fashioned good kind. The new kind are metallic broadcasters, and they will eat your brains.
Ooh, how do people know which one's which?
Oh, you got to do some research, don't you?
Why do you say that? That's not fair.
You
need help now.
You were given an internet to learn. Even if it was started out as military.
I don't know how to do research as well as some other people do. So that's,
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Don't have internet access. So, we have that issue too. But anyway.
Next.
The cell phone can't hurt you when it's turned off, right? Just to be sure.
Whoa. What can't hurt you?
The cell phone can't hurt you if it is turned off.
That is questionable because unless you disable your cell phone, you don't know that it's turned off. There's a little card in there, SIMS card. Take that out, lay it aside. Take the battery out, lay it aside. Then allow at least 2 feet between your cell phone and those particulars. Then you know it's turned off.
Wow, okay.
Any other way, you don't know. Why? Well, haven't you heard about the people being able to sneak into your computer by way of the power line and turn it on and off, or turn the camera on and watch you and all this other happy stuff? Well, guess what your cell phone can do?
Wow. So you should not keep, and I'm going to have to be careful, better about this.
If you really want privacy, you got to turn everything. You not only have to turn everything off, but you can't be in the city at all.
Whoa.
Ain't that a bitch? Ooh.
That's a tough one for some of us, Anyway.
Yes.
Okay. But you definitely wouldn't want to have your cell phone in the bedroom.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's
you might be doing things in there that you don't need broadcast on the internet, I'll bet. Think about that very carefully.
Okay, I have turned it off and thinking that that's okay, but it's obviously not. And I have read that before, but I have a bad.
Well, if you want to have some fun with your cell phone, you can leave it all plugged in. Just stick it in the refrigerator. It can't accept a broadcast from the refrigerator. Not worth shit.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard of people getting, like canopies you can have put over your bed, which.
Yeah.
That works. Well, I hope I haven't had too much damage done already. All right, let's see what's next. Why isn't the Confederation, the Galactic Confederation, that is, stepping in to at least take down these two huge planetary issues? That's relating back to 5G. Mm-hmm. The other one. Why isn't the Galactic Confederation stepping in to at least take down these two huge planetary issues? I'm asking on behalf of myself and all those with the same concerns that they step in and stop them. It's my right and I'm exercising it. It's universal law enforcement.
Whoopee.
The two things they're talking about is the nefarious 5G and the nefarious bad kind, but you said that that's not an issue. And the other one is the mind control.
It ain't time yet. When it's time, they'll step in. You'll start seeing them landing all over the place and everything.
Okay. I'm sure you I didn't see this part. It says, I really don't expect you to read this aloud while talking to Drake, as it is lengthy, but I did anyway, at least most of it. Okay. Oh, this was the law of divine grace. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, and you're going to find that almost all of that stuff's horse hockey at one point or another. It says so itself normally.
Oh, okay.
The law of one is really guilty. About the second or third thing in, and it says, I'm in charge of you. Horse hockey. God gave us freedom of will. Oops. Anybody or anything that says they're in charge is full of horse hockey, to include the Council of Nine and these other mothers out there that think it's fun to play with the cute little smart monkeys.
Yeah. Okay. So let me bypass this section because it's quite long, actually.
I can unload on somebody if you want.
What about, somebody's asking about LED lights and why are they implemented all over and how are they harmful?
Well, that's because of the frequency that they produce light at is a blue base. Blue base is penetrating and will cause you to go blind, among other things. You'll notice, if you look at your computer, you'll notice little blue boxes, zoom. You'll notice that some of the things on your board are blue. There's a reason for that, and that's the reason. It's penetrating. Plus, the thing I don't like about digital things is that they used to be able to detect a thing called a subliminal cut, where they showed some nutcase chomping up a friggin' burger like it was going out of style. We got them at Mickey D's. Come and get one. Okay, and illegal as hell. Only a few, portions of a second long necessarily. But he got the message. Everybody had a Big Mac attack at midnight, and they run out. Okay, that has been termed illegal. Now, it is very, and I mean extraordinarily difficult to tell whether or not somebody's doing that with a digital system, to include digital TVs and screens like the one I got in front of me.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yes. Next.
I am here to go into the rejuvenating, healing, altering DNA machine so I can begin a new life and find a new soulmate.
Huh.
How will we be notified and what will be the process for going into treatment?
It'll be after we transition out of 3D to 4D. And everybody will be notified that if they think they need medical assistance, there will be screening places for them to go to, find out what the deal is, and go from there.
Ask Drake if we are going to get any help from ETs with this man-made virus, compliments of Bill Gates, who holds the patent, and they're talking about the coronavirus.
Possibly. They haven't committed yet.
They haven't.
They haven't committed yet, but they're pissed about it. Okay.
Okay.
When they decide, they might vaporize Bill Gates. We don't know yet.
Oh my God, it's just unbelievable.
Well, it wouldn't be no great loss.
I wouldn't be cheerful.
Well, they might as well go ahead and take out Soros. I got a whole list.
Oh yeah.
They could vaporize, and I'd be just happier than a pig rolling in the mud about it. Oh yeah, doing my happy dance. Can you see now think about a pig covered in jumping up and down in the mud doing a happy dance.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Talk about planetary liberation.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Do you think the GCR will happen by here we go asking for dates, by the 1st of April of this year? Has any possibility?
All of the stuff that I've talked about over a period of years was supposed to have taken place between 2017 and 2019. Here it is, 2020 already, and a lot of it is not done. Reason being is that we have not held up our part of the bargain. We are supposed to clean house, among other things, etc. We have not been doing that. And that's got to be done to a certain extent, or at least initiated to the point where it cannot be reversed. Then you get all the goodies.
Okay, this is what I get from people all the time, Drake, and I don't know what you can do to help this. They go, well, what are we supposed to do? I don't have any power. What can I possibly do? So,
bullshit.
People.
Yeah, bullshit. I don't have any power. I can't do nothing. Okay, when you get tired of being a victim of whatever the hell's going on, if somebody's trying to stick turds in your ear or whatever, and you let them, shame on you. All right. Now, here's the key. You don't have any power? Read my books. They will give you the individual insight and power capability that you are seeking. That's why I made them free. Everybody needs this. Okay. Now, they are not just something you read. You got to study and implement. You got to,
Yeah.
I get upset with people that don't want to do it, that want to be a welfare basket case and have everything done for them. What do you need? Your butt wiped and your diaper changed? Yeah, well, seriously.
Possibility of going through the books online in as a means to help people to get them to understand what needs to be done, but.
Well, they're only like, the average is like 20, 25 pages or something like that.
No, they're short. They're not that long. But
yeah, you could print one out, study it through. When you're done with it, write completed on the back, flip it over, write completed, then the date, and sign it. Get a bunch of people together, have a little class, see who can figure out what to do with where, and how to get there.
Get a little small group together. Now that's a good idea. That's what,
exactly. It only take three to five people or something along there. You can get bigger if you want.
That's a great.
Study the friggin' material. That material is not just something to read through and go, "Oh, that's cool." It's not its design at all. It's study material, and here's the other part: you practice what's in there to the point where you become efficient at it, to where it becomes second nature, like breathing or some such. When you get to that point, you're ready for book 2. Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on. But I think that's a great idea. I think that's after the cabal is defeated, will we have only 1,000 years of peace or much longer?
It's supposed to be permanent.
Yeah.
However long that is. However long that is. I don't know how long permanent it is, but that's what I was told. So there you go.
Okay. Drake, is Michelle a transvestite or a morphodite? Will her true identity be publicized?
All you got to do is look at the pictures and you can see what she's got hanging.
I've seen those pictures already.
She's a transit, okay? Now, whether she's got female organs or not, I don't know. And I don't want to get close enough to her to find out.
Was she involved with the Notre Dame fire and the ritual sacrifice that Serial Brain exposed?
I heard that she was.
Okay.
I hear all kinds of silly shit.
Okay.
So yeah, I can hear something, but unless somebody validates, homie, don't play with it.
Okay.
Might stick to your fingers, Ooh.
Ooh. Okay. Well, they're very interested in this for some reason, because it goes on to say, what do you think and know about these connections? And you already kind of stated that, so we don't have to go any further there. It says, are the Obamas involved with these satanic rituals and child trafficking?
Yes.
Is the truth about this coming out soon?
I hope so. I heard a little bit different take on it. They're going to pop them for theft from the federal government for the I think it was around $5 billion that they stole.
Yeah.
Pop them for that first, so that they got them. They can't get away. Then and we got the bank account numbers, locations. Move it around all you want. We know where it's at. Exactly. And his whole organization is being it's being fetted out. And the reason it is because that was a deep state operation to destroy the country. And it didn't quite work because there's too many people that said, I don't think so. Consequently, then all of a sudden, Clinton got this and Trump got the White House. Well, I like that. We needed a bull in the china shop. Okay, now people have to understand. President Trump might be a kind of person that does not like to play games in terms of reading a lot and all this happy stuff, and you don't have to. But that does not mean that he's got a memory problem, okay? Secondly, he knows how to be very presidential. He's proved that multiple times within the last few months. And so if he knows how to do that, he knows how to accomplish results in our country that is so advantageous to everybody else that they're now talking to him, whereas before that's Trump, huh? Okay. Orange man doesn't look like he might be that dangerous, but I'll give him a pass this time. Okay. That went on for about 3 months. Fourth month, they started having superficial conversations, and the answers they got just blew their mind. Really? Sure, why not? I'm the man that loves the art of the deal. Well, then you got Bloomberg out there saying that Trump is nothing more than a bad odor in a bathroom. Well, I hate to tell certain people things, but Bloomberg, guess what? You were involved in 2 of Trump's bankruptcies directly. That's how much you love the guy, right? Okay. The 4th time around, he went private. The 4th time around was a zinger. They can't touch him now, and they really hate that. But Bloomberg, spend that money. That's cool. Gives people jobs.
I have heard that 2 different things. There's, like opposite ends of the pole. I've heard on one end, this is what I prefer to go with, is that he has friends and helpers upstairs and protectors.
Mm-hmm.
He is a time traveler.
Who?
Trump.
No.
Okay. Well, on the other side of the fence, I heard, I hear these different things. I'm not standing on one side or the other, okay? On the other side of the fence, I'm hearing, he's had so many bankruptcies, and he had help, and he is a lackey to the Czar Mafia. The Khazar.
No.
So
He ain't deep state either, like some people think.
I know. Why would the deep state be fighting themselves if he was deep state? I mean, that's
you gotta make it look good, okay? What do you think politics is?
yeah. Politics. A bunch of
It's got bugs. It's called ticks. It's got bugs, and he eats it.
yeah. Okay. No, I think he's doing a good job.
Okay.
What is needed right now? Anyway.
We'll see.
I hope that's true. I would hate to be on the end of being fooled again. You know how that song goes. But anyway, I don't think so. But
we don't want to be fooled again.
Yeah. No, I think it seems to me things are moving in the right direction.
Well, they generally are, but it's going to take a little bit more. Trump's already working on 3 of the main things that will propel us into the 25th century.
Well, here, this human trafficking and child trafficking and pedophilia and
Hi, Hollywood. How you doing?
oh my God, yeah, just to see that.
Did you see any of the Super Bowl?
No, I don't watch that stuff.
Well, if you'd watch the halftime show, you'd got a good dose of why we need to run Hollywood through an old-fashioned ringer washer.
I heard that. I heard about it.
I used to say that we needed to wash our flag because it got politics on it. Well, there you go, Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. I had no idea that they were so dark. I mean, I heard about the casting couch. I mean, but that's minor compared to the whole shebang of what really goes on.
Yeah.
The children and
Weinstein and a few others really messed things up, and it's semi-permanent. Then they decided to entertain the people that liked little kids. either way or whatever. And that made it even worse. We have about 20 to 50,000 kids per year disappear into Gaga land, or whatever that is, by these pedophiles and whatnot. Now, there are some people out there in law enforcement who are busting the hell out of these people. One, and I love this, was a place, they had one that everybody saw on TV and whatnot in the desert. Well, was in the desert too. The difference was that the idiots that were there decided to resist. They're all dead. Never reported, never said nothing. There was like 70 some kids that they turned loose out of there. Okay. Now, once you do something like that to a child, they're screwed up for life. It's not just a thing that, like a bump or a bruise or scrape, you put a Band-Aid on the nose and everything's fine. No, don't work that way. You cannot fix it. Period. And to me, I would put the people that do that sort of thing through the same exact trials and tribulation that they put the kids through. Namely, and this is something a lot of people are aware of, women can have a circumcision. A lot of people don't know that. Just like men can have a circumcision. Well, guess what? I offer that they should have hopefully they've had one already. Most women haven't, but men have. I advocate that they do the second circumcision with dull instruments.
Yeah, I heard that, that women play a big role in child trafficking and pedophilia.
Yes.
And,
Now, there's one place that a woman can be cut. Won't bleed to death, but you won't ever have sex again either.
I just can't believe that they could do this.
Like I said, you put them out of business. I mean, I offer that somebody that rapes little kids to have it cut off if it's a guy. Mm-hmm. Just that simple. Cut that mother hunker out. Turn him into the same unicular servant, slave that the Egyptians used to do. They do the same thing that we do to bulls all the time. You cut them 2 little bags off, no problem. There's no impetus to do anything, okay? And then my mother decided to open her big mouth once, stipulated, this is when I was younger, stipulated that rape doesn't have anything to do with sex, and that if a rapist cut it off, and a rapist use a chair leg. I said, well, that's simple. She said, what do you mean? Well, aren't the police armed? Yeah. Put your gun out and blow brains all over the floor. End it. Well, hey.
Yeah, they can't. I just don't like that picture, but I know what you mean, because I can't tolerate the thought, and I don't have much mercy.
Homosexuals are treated in some societies as a very dangerous disease, and the person practicing it is summarily, instantly executed. There's a lot of things, who says that we got to have drag queen mama teaching our little kids in grade school at the library, about sex? Who took the parental rights away from everybody and the education system says we can do anything we want and you ain't got nothing to do? Oh, shit. They ought to be glad they ain't my kids, or there'd be bullets flying.
When it comes to that those are consenting adults. But when it comes to little children, that's a whole different ball game.
That's why I'm telling you that the welfare mama, happy horseshit drag queen mothers need to go somewhere. If I hear about my grandkids going through something like that, there's going to be hell to pay. I guarantee you that. I'll bring machine guns, tanks, whatever it takes to eliminate that problem. I'm not bashful about it. But the thing is, nobody's willing to stand up and say, horse hockey. No, you don't.
Yeah, that's where people say, well, there's nothing I can do. Yes, there is something you can do. There's things like that are going on that you need to stand up and say, no, I don't approve of this, and I won't approve of this, and this is wrong. It's not happening in my county.
Well,
city or in my town.
well, parental rights have been through the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court agrees with the ideology that it is a parent's duty and responsibility to raise their children as they see fit, preferably in what is considered morally to be the right way, whatever that may, however that may apply. But it's been to the Supreme Court. So what can be done is very simple. They know they're going against a ruling of the Supreme Court, and that ruling happens to be law. Consequently, you can remove these people. And that's a school superintendent or whomever's idea it was, and any teachers involved, and just, you know.
Yeah. Well, what the children too, in this pedophilia stuff and the satanic rituals, it just falling. And there are a lot of people out there that don't even believe that goes on. And I'm wondering, well, what do you think happens to the? Now, I heard a figure, and I don't know if this is correct or not, but almost 850,000 children go missing every year in the entire United States. Is that actually even possible?
It's more like between 50 and 100,000, but that is an accurate number. I toned it down from 2 or 3 different sets of details that I've heard of. Okay, now they're beginning to bust all the big ones, where they got 100 and some adults screwing over 200-300 kids and that sort of thing. Like a certain island I mean, you know.
That's what they do to them in order to extract that adrenochrome too. Is just
well, if it was me, like I said, if it was me and I was armed, they wouldn't ever be able to do that again to any other little kids.
I mean, just the thought.
I think I like the idea of instant execution upon proof of guilt. I really do. Oh, you got the wrong person. Oh, you want to join them? Oh no.
Yeah. It's hard to be merciful and forgiving for that kind of.
Well, I'm merciful and forgiving. God forgive me. Bang.
Oh, you're bad, Greg.
Ooh. I'm dead serious about it.
You know what? I know. And, you know, kids deserve better and don't deserve.
Exactly. A child, irrespective of the age, a child is, first of all, a gift to God. Secondly, it is the charge of the parents to see to its welfare. And its general welfare does not include drag queens at the age of 3 to 5, telling them that, oh, don't I look cool? No, I'll show you how cool you look. We got any more questions, or are we done?
We're done.
All right. I think we've expressed our political beliefs pretty thoroughly. What do you think?
Well, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I think we've expressed our political beliefs pretty thoroughly. So, you know.
Yes, I'm afraid we have.
Hey, everybody, look who had me on. My old hairy self was on the same tube as her. Ain't that something?
Yes, and we tend to agree on a lot of things, don't we? Anyway.
Hey, everybody, thanks. Thank you for having me on, Gail.
And thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye-bye, everybody.
I'll put his books back up, everybody. I'll put them up again. Try to get them. They're in the description of the YouTube video. So be sure to look at the description. If you haven't downloaded the books, get a book, start a little group, and get busy. And we'll see you next week. Thank you. Let me find where to shut this off. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you, everyone. I want to say thank you. Special thank yous to all who have put out donations, and I can't tell you how much has helped me. I need that help. I just had to switch internet services because the other one I wasn't able. We're a day late because of it. It was so poor, and all that. Everything costs money. You know, it's sad. I'll be so happy when the transition comes and we don't have that as such a concern. But again, thank you everyone who's helped me. I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be able to continue this if it hadn't been for some of you who have been kind and thoughtful enough to do what you do. Thank you.